they have dev who are pulling out. And this is why I want to make this video, because most of us are going to be like, well, we don't care, we don't play Apex anymore. This game is dead, right? Like the game, let's be honest. But what kind of worries me is really the fact that dev are pulling out. Okay, and those games, even if they are dying, they are the most played game anyways, right? It's still in the top 10 played game, even if it's dying. So my point is that this indirectly is going to impact Valve, because it's impacting the credibility of the Steam Deck. Okay, so we're going to start with a little bit of context, like always. And if you didn't watch my video, just go watch it like after the stream, or I'm going to put a link in the description below, because we're going to make a video about this reaction there. But the idea is that Apex Legends is taking away its support from the Steam Deck and Linux. So if you didn't know about it, long story short, they are out. If you start the game right now, you're going to have an error message saying like you can't play on it anymore. Okay, so let's see their decision-making process. The openness of Linux operating system make it attractive for cheaters and cheat developers. Linux cheats are indeed harder to detect, and the data shows that they are growing at a rate that requires an outsized level of focus and attention from the team that for a relatively small platform. There are also cases in which cheat of Windows OS get emulated as if it's on Linux. I think this is a big problem here. In order to increase the difficulty of detection. I think this one is a big problem. So let's see what is it. So what is the anti-cheat situation really? Anti-cheat situation is that right now you run on Windows and you have kernel level anti-cheat. So I'm gonna call it EAC, but normally it's not EAC, it's just anti-cheat. So we're gonna call it this way. Wait. Let's be clear. Voilà. Kernel level anti-cheat. Okay. And then you have Linux. It's anti-cheat, but it can't be at a kernel level. No kernel level. Okay, it can't be at the kernel level. So what is happening? It is at what they call user space level. So this is how it works. Okay, sorry for your eyes, but you have the ID here. The anti-cheat run at the application level here in the user space. And the kernel space here can't be touched on Linux. This is how it's done. Like on Linux, you can't touch it. It's part of the vision of it. So if you look at the way it's done, user space level here, and here you're gonna have Apex and the anti-cheat, and here you're gonna have the kernel level. So what they say really is like, if you put the cheat here, okay, cheat action, we're gonna put it cheat action is gonna impact the game, but the anti-cheat won't be able to see it. Like this is, I'm making it super simple, chat. But this is the idea. So that's the first problem. So when you are running on Linux. And then you have the other problem they mentioned, which is Windows, but I won't even talk about that. But the idea is like on Windows, they would emulate to be Linux for avoiding the anti-cheat to go deeper. But here, it's complicated, because if you can actually do that on Windows, it means their anti-cheat is not good enough to detect it, right? So it shows they are incompetent, or at least they don't have the solution yet. I'm rough, but like it kind of show, right? It's an issue they can't fix. You know what I mean? Because if they have access to the kernel and access to everything else, how can they not fix it already on Windows? In their little approach there, they say, I'm gonna make it bigger. Windows get emulated as it sits on Linux in order to increase the difficulty of detection and prevention. So something is wrong there. Because if you have access to the kernel of Windows and you can still go undetected because of that, something is wrong on their end. But anyways, we had to weigh the decision on the number of players who were legitimately playing on Linux with Steam Deck versus the greater health of the population of Apex players. So we got Linux user sacrificed. This is a sacrifice, boys. While the population of Linux users is small, their impact affected a fair amount of player game. This ultimately brought us to our decision. So here, you see, it's not clear. Because if they can't make the decision, like, okay. If they can't make the clear, I would say like, cut between users who are pretending to run Linux on Windows and cheating via, you know, like this path, their number might not even be accurate, dude. Like, think about it. You see, I'm talking with you guys, and I didn't think about that yesterday. Pirate Software say good anti-cheat is possible without having kernel access because he did that for World of Warcraft. I agree with it. We will talk about it after, but I'm just trying to analyze what's happening there, and maybe I didn't go through it enough there. This is big, chat. So to eliminate this cheat vector, we made the decision to prevent access. So they pull out. So no Steam Deck, and it's gone. Voilà. So that was their announcement. What can Valve do in this situation? Like what is the real situation, and what is the outcome from Valve in this situation? Because what we have seen for the last month, we lost so GTA 5 online is gone. So now we have Apex done. So you see the trend, right? Because now everybody is gonna be all the developers are gonna be like, hey, we need to pull out because there is so many cheaters, guys. You're right. I forget about this one. So you see the trend, right? So what can Valve do? And I'm showing that to you because I think the first point we need to put out there, we have a situation. Okay, let's word it this way. We got a situation. And here is the situation. On one hand, you have the dev, okay, who says Linux is too small. And on the other hand, Valve and also the player, right? Like because it's too small, games are not available. So on one hand, they are complaining about the fact that the community of Linux is too small. And so they don't want to put money into it. So what it means no innovation, okay, on their end, because they're like, no, it's too small, we don't want to do it. No money, okay, because this is important. Like if you want innovation, you have to put cash into it, huh? Like this is normal. And on the other hand here, well, it's still the same problem. It's like, can't grow, okay? It just can't grow. So here is the circle, chat. No player, no games. So we don't want to do the game for Linux because there is no player. And because there is no player, you have no games. Like this is the circle here, and it goes. Like it's like how do we do, chat? You know what I mean? Like it sounds like crazy, but this is literally what we are witnessing. Am I crazy or not? Like this is the world we are living in on Linux. Because if those guys here, they had big money to make because it's on Linux, let me tell you, they will hire a team and there will be boys, we have to be on this case. Presto, presto, papa. Presto, presto. Let's continue on the situation. What really Valve did achieve? So what did they achieve? Okay, achievement. Okay, what did they do? The achievement is Proton. Because Proton break the barrier for the dev. So before, and you're right, Cosmic Savant, I agree with you. Before, you will still be in the same circle here, like no games, no player on Linux, because the player base is too small, okay? And this cycle where nothing happened. But Proton breaks that, because now there is nothing to do, right? They do it on their end. So the dev, they do their game on Windows. Proton fix the game for Linux. Again, this is at a high level, right? We're not going deep into it. And now the game works on Linux. The only problem, the last problem, is, as you all know it, is anti-cheat. And they came with a solution, right? Their solution was anti-cheat user level. But it looked like this solution, like right now as we see it, is not good anymore. It's gone. So what can they do, right? Because if you want Linux to grow, we're always the same problem, right? The dilemma, the contradiction. Not enough player, not enough game, blah, 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 blah. The solution, chat, from Valve. Number one, a BattleNet style of anti-cheat, okay? Warden. We go Warden mode. It works. I don't know at what level, but it works. So it's server side mostly, and no, so really important, no kernel level. But here, Valve doesn't have access, to the dev. Like the dev, if you look at them, like you have EA right now as their own kernel anti-cheat. We're gonna call it KAC, okay? Kernel Anti Cheat. They just develop them. So you have Battlefield, which jumped. You have the last rally game, WRC, I think it is, something like that. Now you have Apex, because I guess they're gonna move it. They might move it to it in the future, maybe, I don't know. But like all those devs right now, they just want to have their own kernel anti-cheat, right? What is Warden? So Warden is the name of the anti-cheat from Battle.net. That's the name, Warden. For example, the anti-cheat for League of Legends, Valorant, it's called Vanguard. So, and to be fair, I don't think that Valve have enough power to force those guys, like to impose their anti-cheat. Like, it's not going to work. So this, I wish it was the case, but nope, not possible. But it would be great to be like that. I read a solution in chat, which I think merits some thought. So monetary pressure on the publisher. So what is monetary pressure? Right now, when a game is being sold on Steam, it is 30%. Like the cost to be there is 30%. So if you buy a game, $100, Valve takes $30. Okay, this is the deal. So now, if for example, the same game is deck verified, okay? It's deck verified, which means like no anti-cheat, like they solve it on their end, but now from the $100 selling point, Valve is gonna take, I don't know, like $10. So they reduce their margin, and it makes some type of incentive for the publisher to go deck verified. This is smart. I like this approach. Because now there is a real incentive for everyone to put the money, the time, and the work to do that. What if the game is free to play? Darn. You got me, Oliver. So yeah, if the game is free to play, this is a problem. Because I don't think Valve can monitor the transaction from their end to take a cut on that. So this one is not going to happen again. So the issue will be free game. Free to play. Issue. Not happening, chat. Solution number 3. So lower tax on the microtransaction, but you don't have access to the microtransactions. They are within the game, Catalin. So for example, like I bought a lot of stuff on Apex Legends because I love the game. Like I loved the game. I stopped playing it, but when I was playing it, I loved the game, dude. I really, really loved the game. It was at the time it peaked. It was like 2 years ago. And I bought, like the skin and stuff. But the way it works is like the game itself connects to EA. So there is no way that Valve is going to control that. Like, let's talk about the third solution. What is kernel signing? So what you would do, you will have some type of mechanism between, like, let's say, Proton anti-cheat, okay, at a user level, okay, user level, and the kernel signed. So what does it mean, really? So if you look at the way it works, you have the application here, so Apex, okay, and you have the kernel and the anti-cheat here. So on paper, the way it is on Linux, this application can't directly tamper it. Like, it can't tamper the kernel. This is how it works. But let's say this application can check, okay, like this is the idea, so in red, let's say this application here can do a check with a signature to see if the kernel has been tampered. And then what you would do, you would have a kernel signed with specific driver. And this is where it starts to be complicated, right? Because you need to be signed with all the driver. So that's the first issue. And then signed with all the anti-cheat like solution. Like that, each anti-cheat, let's say EAC, Battle.net, Battle Eye, and for example, Vanguard in the future, could check if the kernel itself has been tampered or not, right? So you will have this kernel you will just use for gaming. That will be like one of the solution, chat. And so if the anti-cheat goes and say like, oh, it's not the right kernel, I'm out. Can't play the game. Please install the right kernel. But you can see where we are going now. Like, can you see the complexity here with the driver? Now what it means like us on our end, no more kernel compiling, no more custom kernel for gaming, no more scheduler playing, no more specific driver you want to change. You're gonna have to play with the driver related to the kernel signed, because if they are not signed, because look what is in the kernel here. All the device driver in the kernel space. You're gonna have all of this all of this, like kind of locked with signature. You can self-sign your kernel yourself, or you would have to use Valve sign kernel or something. No, you would have to use, for example, in this case, the Valve sign kernel. So just to be clear, the signature means that the file itself has not been tampered. This is what it means. Because if you can sign it yourself, it would like totally break the purpose. So would that make just CachyOS and Nobara obsolete? It could, yeah. It would make kernel optimization obsolete in gaming for sure. Not the distro, because the distros, they add way more than just the kernel, right? Could it be possible, but would get very complex when having more DKMS driver? Exactly, this is what I'm saying. For example, OpenRather, NVIDIA, like all of them. Maybe I'm getting too complex there, but like this on paper could be possible. But the amount of work related to it, like we need to have a big player pushing something. We need to have a big player pushing something. So let me explain you why. So do we have another solution in chat? Because, you know, I thought about those, but like maybe I forget something. Like we had a good intervention related to, you know, like the monetary pressure. But like, could they do something else? Like, could Valve do something else? So basically, only Canonical and Fedora can pull that kind of work. Yeah, but they don't want to do it. I think it's going to be more Valve. Like, those guys have no interest of doing that. Like, gaming has never been their priority, chat. Or Buzzite, immutable OS, image is signed with cosign. So, think about it, Mr. Dev. It's already the case with the Steam Deck. And still, they didn't like it. And still, EA didn't like it. I think it needs to be the kernel will need to be signed. It needs to be done at the kernel level, not at the image level. It's too complicated. Because it means that each time you make an update, you're gonna have to upgrade all the anti-cheat parameter. And then there is like multiple distro out there. Like, it's not going to work. Maybe when CachyOS come out, they could be by default use those kernel. Yeah, this could be it. That's the issue. So now let's look at the big picture, right? Like why are we mentioning that? And why Valve is in trouble, in my opinion, and they need to do something. So Valve, historically, they had SteamOS 1, which was a fail. It was Linux still, it was Debian. And it didn't fail because it was Debian. It was just a fail through the way they tried to operate everything. Don't want to go through the historic, but it was a failure. Steam Deck, so SteamOS 3, which is, in my opinion, a huge success. Okay, this is a huge success. This is a huge success, chat. And from that came Proton. Okay, so actually Proton came with the Steam Deck, but like Proton is really what kind of like enabled all of this. Because you have the hardware and everything there, but it's more like Proton from a software standpoint is where it's at. Let's go back to that. So Valve perspective is that now they are really deep in, right? They have Steam Deck, which are selling like hot cake, but now they have dev who are pulling out. And this is why I want to make this video, because most of us are going to be like, well, we don't care, we don't play Apex anymore. This game is dead, right? Like the game, let's be honest. If you look at what it was, like I think when he peaked, this is when he peaked. Like 2022, like around here, like 22, 23, look where it's at now. Like the game is dying. In 2 years, they went from 600,000 players to 140,000 players. Like it's dead. The game is dead. So it's still a lot of players, but it's dead. But what kind of worries me is really the fact that devs are pulling out. Okay, and those games, even if they are dying, they are the most played game anyways, right? It's still in the top 10 played game, even if it's dying. So my point is that this indirectly is going to impact Valve, because it's impacting the credibility of the Steam Deck. It's impacting the credibility of the Steam Deck. And also it impacts the Linux user base, right? Which includes the Steam Deck too, like which is still big. And if we go from a trend which was like going upward to a trend which is going downward, because now if most of the popular game like they pull out, why would you use the Steam Deck anymore? Right? Like it's bad. Because again, like this game, it's nothing. But this is the trend, right? The trend before. So this is before we will call say like AC crisis, anti-cheat crisis, and the game after. You know what I mean? Like we might have a trend where people pull out more and more, and this is why I believe like Valve need to react. Like they need to react, chat. They need to do something. How much disk space did you regain after uninstalling Apex Legends? Whoa. Like a lot. It's actually a big game, dude. Kernel Anti Cheat will fail eventually. I agree with that. Valve need to demonstrate that they offer the best server-side anti-cheat service. No enforcement needed. Easy implementation. Man, I wish they had something like that. So is it that bad, chat? Is it that bad for us? Is Linux gaming dying? So this is my vision, okay? No, it's not. But this situation, it slowed down everything. Because as I mentioned earlier, the most popular game, they are competitive. They have those anti-cheat BS. And it's gonna slow down Linux gaming in general. And when I say Linux gaming, it's more like Linux gaming adoption. Because most of the gamers, let's see it this way, they won't go there, right? Because they are like, oh, this game, for example, doesn't work and I love playing this game. And now it gives them an excuse not to switch to Linux. That sucks, that. Like, to me, it sucks because I would love everyone to discover the Linux experience awesomeness as fast as possible. And this is just like, it's rough, dude. It's really rough. And when we look at all those solutions, I don't see in the short term and mid term a solution which will be, I would say, good enough, right? It's going to take a lot of time. Even if there is a solution. Maybe there is no solution, chat. Maybe this is where we're going to stay, unfortunately. And now, like, again, which is even worse, because there is a hypocrisy here. Like, this is something I want to say before we close this one. So let's talk about EA. So EA, as we proved earlier, they have no clue. Like, the truth is, like, they have no clue. They have no clue because they can't really tell if the cheaters are already on Linux. We proved it earlier, so you go back to the video, you watch what I said, because I don't want to explain it again. But the truth is, like, they have no idea if cheaters are already actually on Linux. Because some cheat, apparently, they spoof Linux on Windows to activate the cheat. So maybe the cheat are still on Windows, dude. But they have to deactivate Linux access to avoid the spoof. You know, spoof is when you pretend to be something else. So the cheat pretends that Windows is Linux to activate. Long story short. But on their end, they don't have the tools to check it. Their only way out is like, we cut. So they have no clue. They don't know. Right? They are like, they are clueless. So on their end, they just cut. They're like, okay, we don't want to deal with that. We're out. Okay? And the user, dude, the user, aka player, guess what? On Windows, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same experience. Same experience. Same amount of cheaters. Like, it's gonna be the same, dude. If they believe by cutting like 0.1%, like, let's say we are 4%. Let's say we are 4%. Let's say we are 4%. 4% are Linux. Of those guys, there is like 1%, like 0.1% were actually cheating. Like, so they cut that. Listen, chat. It's gonna be the same. It's gonna be exactly the same, chat. So nobody's win. This is what really stuck in my hand. The truth is, like, the hypocrisy around that is like they pretend they are doing something, but there is no solution. There is no real solution, whether on Linux or on Windows. There is none. I agree with that. This is a minor step which won't really have much of an impact. Unless there is a part 2 to the story. Maybe. Yeah, we are in a weird position, chat. I'm still positive, but we are in a weird position. So I'm gonna end the video. Guys, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Don't forget to give a thumb up to this video, give a like, become a member on Patreon or on YouTube. Thank you very much and bisous bisous.